So 2020 is happening, and this has been the happiest year of my life, I think. And all of a sudden, it's become tremendously successful for me. I'm having just unbelievable success, not just in terms of my personal life, of personal happiness, but all of a sudden, all these dreams for me that I've dreamed about for even decades, they're starting to come true from out of nowhere. Now, that may be because I have no resistance, I'm very relaxed, I'm very happy, but for many years I've been talking about telling my close friends that there's essentially two essential things for success in life. It took me a very long time to figure out those very two extremely simple things, but I was thinking actually there's four things that you need for just super extreme success. Now, the two things that I've just mentioned, those are things that you're going to say, oh, yes, I know that to be true, but it's good to hear it again. It's a good reminder. What he's saying is absolutely true, regardless of what your background is, what your personal beliefs are, whatever your personal feelings are. I'm sure that you will absolutely agree and appreciate being reminded of those things that you probably already know to be true, because then you can put them into actual action. But the first two things that I'll start out with, these are some things that not everyone is probably going to agree with, because it depends on some of your life experiences, some of your personal beliefs and feelings on things, maybe the way you were raised. So I'm just going to get to it, enough dilly-dallying. Now, number one, something that's been shown to me to be true, and I know this could upset a lot of people. Number one is I know there's a God. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know me as a very religious person. Right now, I'm not talking about religion. Religion tries to explain the why and the how to us human beings that want a logical explanation of things, but we have these small human brains, and they're trying to explain these big, infinite concepts and trying to have it make sense to us. But I'm not talking about any specific religion or anything like that. I know there's a God now because I've experienced it in my life. A lot of people say, well, if there's a God, prove it. It's like proving happiness. You kind of have to experience it yourself, and you have to be somewhat open to experience it. But over the past couple years, there's been so many things that have happened in my life. I don't believe in God. I don't have faith in God, where it's this thing where I don't really know. It's something that I know. Do you know this? I know this because I've experienced so much. I would be an absolute fool to deny that there is a God. Absolutely. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I'll do another video kind of getting into that, but there's no such thing as coincidences, at least for the very big things. There's so many things just in the past 2 years, especially in the past half a year or 7 months ago, that's like mountains had to be moved for certain things for me. And I know that all these things that had to fall in place, they were not merely a coincidence. So number one, I know there's a God. And number two, prayer creates change. I don't know the science of it. I don't know the explanation of it, but something happens when you pray. You can explain it away any way you want, try and use your rationale and use logic to work it out and just say, well, maybe it's just a psychological thing and that's what's benefiting you. I don't care what you want to do if you want to try and explain it. I don't even try and get into trying to explain it. I just know it works. Just like I don't know exactly how electricity works, but if I walk over there, flip the switch on, I know the lights are going to come on. I can't explain how all the wiring works and exactly how they harness electricity to get it in there. But if I know that if I flip that switch, the lights are going to come on. So I use that light switch. So number one, there's a God. Number two, prayer works. So those are the two that I know I might get some resistance on from certain people, but that's okay. Just try it for yourself. That's all I'm asking you. I'm just asking you to consider that this at least could be true. Just consider it. Now, let's get to the two things that I've been talking about for years, the two very simple things that it took me a very long time to figure out and put it into words to articulate it. And the other thing is that attitude is everything. Regardless of what's going on in life, regardless of what your circumstances are, attitude is everything. even at my current job that I'm so happy and grateful to have. Whenever I go there, I say a prayer. Thank you for a day of employment. Thank you that I fell into this really great job that I actually am liking quite a bit. But there's other people that don't have that attitude. There's other people that go home and they're drinking themselves to death. There's people that are supposedly suicidal from doing this job. And then there's other people doing the same job that you ask them, is this job stressful? And they say, no, this is a great place to work. So it's amazing how you have those two different opposing attitudes. Some people want to commit suicide from doing the job. Other people absolutely love it. So attitude, regardless of what's going on in your life, attitude is everything. It just makes a huge difference. So that's probably the number one thing of these last two. And the last thing is who you hang out with, who you associate with. That can be almost anything in life. That's probably, along with your attitude, that who you hang out around and who your friends are, who you associate with, that's going to be, maybe even more so than attitude, the biggest thing that determines your life success. Now, you can't get it. Some people, they're born into certain worlds. They're born being around the right people. Trump's kids, Ben Shapiro, his parents were rich Hollywood producers. They could just hand him a show. Other guys, they struggle for years and years before getting a break. And you can't complain about other people's blessings. Some people just have that advantage of they're just born into the right family. They get to go to the right schools just because of who their parents are. Someone else might have to work to get a scholarship to that school or something like that. So you can't worry about other people having that advantage. You can't worry about other people's blessings and advantages that they're born into. But know that regardless of where you are in life, and honestly, it's going to be hard for some people to work themselves up that way up. But there's something about, there's an energy. I tell people, because I have a background in athletics, of course, if you want to be a champion, hang out with guys that are champions. That energy is going to rub off on you. Even if you're not training with them, even if you're not doing something sports related, that energy that's going to rub off, that is like magic. If you want money, hang out around rich guys. If you want whatever, hang out around that type of people that have the type of life that you want. So number one, to recap real quick, I absolutely know there's a God. And number two, prayer is a superpower. Prayer is not passive. It creates change. And number three, attitude is everything. And number four, be very conscious of who you hang out with, because there is an energy that comes off and rubs off on you and influences you. By the same token, also be conscious of whatever you're taking in through media, whether that's television, music, YouTube videos. There's an energy that's coming off and influencing you, at least on some level. So be very careful about whatever it is you're watching on TV and on the internet and such. So I'm sure that if you're an open-minded person, that this video has been a help to you, even if it's just reminding you of things that you already know so you can go actively put it into action. So you can check out my other videos, and until next time, my friends.